Hi, today we are going to discuss on the topic of JUnit. So let's begin. So what is JUnit? JUnit is an open source unit testing framework for Java. It is important in the development of test-driven frameworks. As the name suggests, it is used for testing a small chunk of code or a unit. Unit testing is also used to verify a small chunk of code by creating a path, function, or a method. The term unit existed even before earlier the object-oriented era. It is basically a natural abstraction of an object-oriented system, that is a Java class or object, its instantiated form. JUnit promotes the idea of test first, code later, which emphasizes on setting up the test data for a piece of code that can be tested first and then implemented. These are the advantages of JUnit. JUnit provides a text-based command line. It also provides an AWT and swing-based graphical test reporting mechanism. JUnit is one of the best testing frameworks that can be selected for an efficient testing process. More application developer IDEs include JUnit. The open source community has extended JUnit by implementing a JUnit Enterprise Edition test framework that enables it to test within the application server's container. This is widely adopted by many organizations around the world for performing unit testing in Java programming language. JUnit has become a benchmark for testing in Java programming language, and it is supported by almost all the IDEs. These are the features of JUnit. JUnit tests allows you to write codes faster, which increases quality. It is elegantly simple. It is less complex and takes less time to test an application. Provides annotation to identify test methods. Also provides assertions in order to test for expected results. It provides test runners for running the tests. The tests can be run automatically on JUnit and they check their own results and provide immediate feedback. There is really no need to manually comb through a report of the test results. JUnit tests can be organized into test suites containing test cases. This also helps in showing test progress in a bar that is green if the test is running smoothly and it turns red when test fails. Talking about JUnit framework. JUnit is a regression testing framework which is used to implement unit testing in Java to accelerate programming speed and increase the quality of code. This framework also allows quick and easy generation of test data and test cases. Unit test framework provides these important features like test fixtures, test suites, test runners, and JUnit classes. This is the first features, which is test fixture. So what is a fixture? A fixture is a fixed state of a set of objects which is used as a baseline for running the test cases. The major purpose of a test fixture is to ensure that there is a well-known and fixed environment in which tests are run so that results are repeatable. Setup method, which runs before every test invocation. The annotation at before is used. And teardown method, which runs after every test method. The annotation at after is used. Here in this code, you can see it is designed to execute two test cases on a simple file. We have to notice here few issues. The first one is the code is not readable properly and it is not easy to maintain. When the test suite is complex, the code might contain logical issues, right? Because we cannot identify at once that these are the test cases and these are the normal code which we might need to execute. Now using JUnit, if we write the same code which we have referred before, we make it more readable and is more maintainable. The code structure above is a text fixture. As you can see in the code here, we have add before and add after, add test, these kind of annotations which we have used in the program. Talking about test suites. If you want to execute multiple test cases in a specific order, it can be done by combining all the test cases in a single origin. This origin is called the test suites. A test suite bundles a few unit test cases and runs them together. To run the test suite, you need to annotate a class using below mentioned annotations: at run with, at suite classes. Okay, now the third one is the test runner. The test runner is used for executing the test cases. JUnit provides a tool for the execution of the test cases. So JUnit core class is used in order to execute the tests. A method called run classes, which is provided by org.junit.runner.junit is used to run one or several test cases. The return type of this method is the result object org.junit.runner.result that is used to access information about the tests. JUnit classes. JUnit classes are used in writing and testing JUnits. Some of the important classes which we use are assert, test case, and test result. Assert class. It contains a set of assert methods which we are going to discuss after few slides. And test case contains a test case that defines the fixture to run multiple tests. And the last one is test result class. It contains methods in order to collect the results of executing a test case. JUnit annotations. JUnit framework is built on annotations. An annotation is a special form of syntactic metadata that can be added to the Java source code for better code readability. These annotations provide the following information about the test methods. The informations which we get are the methods that are going to be run before and after the test methods, using the at before and at after annotations which we have seen just before some slides, and methods that are run before and after all the methods. We'll see about these. And the methods are classes that will be ignored during the execution. These all will be seen now. So these are the following list of annotations and their meaning in JUnit. So at test, as we have seen, the test annotation tells JUnit that the public void method can be run as a test case. At before, annotating a public void method with at before causes that method to be run before each test method. At after, if you allocate external resources in a before method, you need to release them after the test runs. So annotating the method with at after causes that method to be run after the test method. Talking about at before class. Annotating a public static void void method with the at before class causes it to be run once before any of the test methods in the class. At after class, this will perform the method after all tests are run. This can be used to perform cleanup activities. At ignore, the ignore annotation is used to ignore the test and that test will not be executed. Fine. Now we'll talk about JUnit assert statements. Assert is a method used in determining pass or fail status of a test case. In JUnit, all the assertions are in assert class. This class provides a set of assertion methods which are useful for writing tests. Only failed assertions are recorded. Now let's dive deep into the methods one by one. The first one is assert equals. So it checks that two primitives or objects are equal or not. The next is assert true. It checks whether the condition is true or not. If it's true, it returns, it passes the test. Okay. Assert false checks whether the condition is false. Assert not null checks whether an object isn't null. Assert null checks whether an object is null. Assert same. The assert same method tests if two object references point to the same object. Fine. Void assert not same. So the assert not same method tests if two objects references do not point to the same object. Talking about assert array equals. So the assert array equals method will test whether two arrays are equal to each other or not. We have got exceptions also. So JUnit provides an option of tracing the exception that occur in the code. You can test whether the code throws the desired exception. The expected parameter is used along with @test annotation. While testing for an exception, you need to ensure that the exception class you are providing in that optional parameter of the @test annotation is the same. This is because you are expecting an exception from the method you are testing. Otherwise, your JUnit test would fail. For example, if you write @test expected is equals to illegal argument exception dot class. So by using the expected parameter, you can specify the exception name that your test may throw. In the above example, you are using illegal argument exception, which will be thrown by the test if a developer uses an argument which is not permitted. We have also something known as parameterized test. So JUnit 4 has introduced a new feature called parameterized tests. This test allows a developer to run the same test over and over again using different values. You have to follow these steps in order to create a parameterized test. If you want to create a parameterized test, then you need to annotate test class with @run with annotation, and this specifies that it is a parameterized test. Okay. Now you need to create a public static method annotated with @parameters that returns a collection of objects in form of an array as test data set. Fine. And then you need to create a public constructor that takes in what is equivalent to one row of a test data. Now you need to create an instance variable for each and every column of test data. At the last, you need to create your test cases using these instance variables as the source of the test data. Okay. So that was all in the section of JUnit. Thank you for listening.